And welcome, folks, to another edition of Steady Dropping Dimes. Sorry for the brief hiatus last week. We couldn't get with you, but that just means we just aged to a little more perfection. Glad to be back with you for another episode, and got a lot in store. We're going to be talking basketball, a lot of men's and women's basketball, as a matter of fact.
Very excited about that women's basketball discussion.
Yeah, man, it's going to be exciting. Hey, the Michigan women's basketball team, I think, ready to make some noise like they did a couple of years ago when they made it all the way to the Elite Eight. When you think about it, they play both SCs. They play both SCs strong. And, you know, I love Michigan because, you know, Dawn Staley, it takes a lot. If I'm going to go against Dawn, it has to be.
Wait, did I tell y'all met her? Did I tell you I met her? Did I tell you that?
Did I tell you I met Dawn Staley? I hung with Dawn Staley.
I did too. She was the coolest person I've ever met.
Oh man, she made a call to the steakhouse and said, "Hey, let's Sam into the steakhouse."
What?
Oh yeah. She said,
she ain't let me in the steakhouse.
Yeah, she said, yeah. Hey, it's Dawn. Let Sam in the steakhouse. I was like, oh, that's cool. That's cool. That was cool.
Okay.
Cool.
I mean, you are Sam Webb, so. You know, I got to kick it with her. You know, a lot of people standing around trying to talk to her, but she didn't even pay them no mind, just talking with me the whole time. But you know, getting in the steakhouse is a little better, I guess.
Nah, she's super cool people, and it was like, man, Michigan first game of the season played them close.
Yeah,
like super close. Like we're here, and they did the same thing with the other SC. I shouldn't call them the other SC. USC would be like, we're SC. But on the, you know, when you talk about women's basketball, I'm sure Dawn Staley would say, you know, we're SC. We're SC. Right. But Michigan played both of those teams like we're right there with you guys. And they're looking like a squad that can make some real noise in the NCAA tournament. So we're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about these hardwood Wolverines on the men's side. That is not looking so hot right now. Limping into the tournament.
Yeah, this is not where you want to be, right? You know, it's so funny because when we talk about football, you know, all those years where Michigan went to the Big Ten championship, but Ohio State early looked so much better, and our conversation was always, you do not want to be playing your best football at the beginning of the season, right? You want to be getting better and having somewhere to go. And Michigan just always got better and better and better. And by the time the championship time came, they were the best they were all season, which is what you want to be. And so for Michigan basketball right now, it seems like the inverse, right? The opposite, where they lights out, right? On fire. And now it's kind of at the very wrong time, being watered down, if you will, or just not playing the same way that they were before. So that has to change, right? You got a tournament coming up, right? And all could be settled. Get a share of that Big Ten championship, but they've got to figure it out.
Yeah, man. It was it's a new season, the second season, as they say. And so, you know,
I like that about basketball.
Yeah.
I like that you get a chance, like you win a Big Ten in the regular season. All right, bet. Let's go get a one-game elimination and see who wins the Big Ten championship. I really like that. Obviously, you couldn't do that in football. It's just too much tackling, too much ice bath, you know, a little bit too much.
Yeah, it's an opportunity to reset. We're gonna get a chance to bring our esteemed colleague Daniel Horton into the show to talk that through with us. He's going to join us a little later. When he does, we might be able to ask him what's going on with the Mavericks down there.
I really hope he. I mean, he don't got to come on bended knee, but I do hope that he like concedes a little, right? Because I mean, I don't think he's ever been so wrong about something in his life. Right. I mean, you know, we're all wrong about some things, but I don't think he's ever been so wrong about something in his life.
Yeah, he would just say that, you know, hey, Sam, well, you know, Kyrie's hurt. Kyrie's out for the season. That's what he would say, probably. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and completely ignore the minutes increase because the all-star great defensive player is hurt again. And he was traded for a guy who I guess drinks too much and still gives you 27. So, I mean, maybe that's the formula. Maybe other people should drink more. And another thing that I would love for him to address is the Lakers are, I think they're number one in defensive efficiency, because that was the whole thing, man. We can't do this because of defense. 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 Well, they're the number 1 or 2 team in all of the NBA, not just the Western Conference, all the NBA in defense. So he don't got to come on bended knee, but he got to concede in some spots.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm right there with you. I thought it was crazy when they made the trade. I thought it was crazy that Daniel was disagreeing with me on that point.
I told you he's crazy.
But I digress. Maybe we'll talk about it. Maybe we won't.
Before he gets on, I need to know from you, do you, and also in the chat, I want y'all to, let us know, do we believe that Daniel Horton will concede and say, hey, man, I was wrong on that one? Do you believe that, Sam?
There's no way.
No chance? What about you, chat? Do you understand? Do you believe that Daniel Horton will come in here, stand on that table and say, hey, man, I missed it. I missed on this one. Just on this one.
There's no way.
Nope.
He still hasn't conceded the Caitlin Clark point.
Oh,
he's still arguing. He's still arguing Caitlin Clark is overrated. But we will leave that alone for now. We're gonna come back around and talk about the Big Ten tournament reset for men's and women's basketball a little bit later on in the show, and we're gonna get into the LeBron question as well for you guys who. Everybody's seen it by now. They're at the game. He doesn't call Stephen A up. He walks up to Stephen A at the game.
Rolled up on him. I want to see your face when I'm talking to you.
And wants everybody to see and check Stephen A.
And I thought this was after the game, in between the third quarter and the fourth quarter, and they losing.
Yeah.
He got a game to win, and he say, hold up, cuz. I got to make sure I nip this right now. I like it.
Right. Now, you could have done it before the game.
Could have.
Right. Before the game.
Halftime.
Halftime.
Post game.
No, you want the camera. You want to make sure you're not even in the commercial. Not even in the commercial, Devin.
Mm-hmm.
You want to make sure the camera's right there to catch it.
But you know what's crazy? Only that phone camera caught the interaction, right? So all these cameras at these NBA games, nobody else caught it except for this one phone camera, which I know he probably getting paid. Like, hey, let me use that footage. But the thing for me is a lot like Stephen A was like, it's weak. And I'm okay, everybody will have their own points about it. But if Kobe or Michael does this and then goes out and gets busy on that guy's favorite team right afterward when they were losing and hits the three to, you know what I mean? If Kobe or Michael does that, they say, oh my, that's the killer we're talking about. That's the killer instinct.
Hold on.
He ain't even worried about the Knicks. He'd say, I'm going to check you about my son, and then I'm going to go get busy on your team.
Okay.
But that's LeBron, so it's weak.
All right, so see, I ain't no Stephen A guy, to be clear, at all. And while I am not a LeBron, super fan, I ride with LeBron, man.
I mean, it's the all-encompassing. It ain't about basketball.
Everything he stand for.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, I ride for LeBron. Ride for it. But on this, you just gotta wait. You gotta wait for the conference. We'll get into it a little bit later. I hate the position that LeBron making me take on this. I hate it.
Oh, man. He ain't making you. You're choosing it.
I hate it. I hate what he doing to me on this, man.
Hey, man.
All right.
Hey, Sam, you know what I liken it to? When you had to roll up on a certain media person
and say,
hey, you keep talking crazy, it's going to be some smoke in the city, okay?
This is not the same.
It's worse, because imagine if that man was talking about your son.
This is not the same. This is not the same.
If he was talking about Sam Webb's son, y'all don't even want to see Flint Sam. I'm just telling you.
How are you equating the two? Okay, but folks, we'll get into it a little bit later on in the show.
That's what
and I'll tell you why it's not the same.
That's why we call it a tease. That's a tease. We just tease what's going to go on
I'm
a little
about
later.
To tell you why it's not the same. All right. We could not do this show if it were not for our great sponsors. Our great sponsors like the Ann Arbor Sports Commission, which we told you they are helping bring a great event to Washtenaw County. Now, Devin, you told me, if I'm not mistaken, one of your favorite movies is Bring It On. Is that
one of my favorite movies for sure? It's lacking nothing. It has everything you need. It's amazing.
Yeah. So, if you are a cheer and dance,
and if you are not
fan,
yet, and you haven't been to something like this, I'm telling you, it's almost the most, maybe not the most, but it's really high up there as far as like one of the greatest shows of athleticism and teamwork, right? To be able to move your arms at the exact same speed, everybody's different height, different length arms, different strengths, right? To flip at the same time, to move your arms at the same time, to clap at the same time, to slap their legs. When I tell you they slap their legs so hard at the same time, I mean, it's so impressive, man. It's so impressive.
This dude really, he knows his stuff. That Devin Gardner.
Oh yeah,
he knows,
You know what I really like? When they scream, they say that they call out their, I don't know, they call their cadences or whatever, right? They use that deep voice. I said, that's not that woman's real voice. She's just making sure it travels throughout this stadium. I'm just telling you, it's impressive.
You know what Arbor just said about you? He called me last week, and he said, what's Devin talking about? And I said, basketball or something. He said, because Devin Gardner's an expert on everything. You know that, right? he's an expert on everything.
I'm not a fool and I'm not a scientist, but I do know some things. And the things I know. I mean, I don't know everything, but I know what I know. And I also know what I don't know. But I do know what I know. And one thing I do know, the Lakers won that trade.
Hey man, right. Hey, he was killing us. Hey, he was giving us the little boy treatment on the basketball discussion.
Y'all just don't know ball. I'm a ball guy. I hoop. I level. I coach it. I live it. I breathe it.
Yes, he was. Hey, which is fine. Hey, I defer. But some things are just, it don't take NBA knowledge. It don't
take no genius to figure that out.
Yeah, it don't take NBA knowledge.
It don't take no genius to figure out you put two of the best players in the world on the same team, it'd be all right.
But at any rate, listen, folks, a great event coming to Washtenaw County, the NAIA Competitive Cheer and Dance National Championships, March 28th and 29th. At the Eastern Michigan University George Gervin Game Above Center. Now, in case you didn't know, this is the only athletic association to offer a national championship in this sport, and it is going to be here in Washtenaw County at the end of this month. Thanks to our friends and it's coming here thanks to our friends over at the Ann Arbor Sports Commission, in conjunction with the NAIA and our friends over at Concordia, by the way, which will be represented in the competition. And so I had the great pleasure of speaking with someone who you should be very familiar with by now, the director over at the Ann Arbor Sports Commission, Meaghan Hughes, who was with us. And then, of course, you will be meeting Dave Aubuchon from the NAIA, the director over at the NAIA, who was also with us to tell us all about this great event, to tell you about all the particulars, tickets, and your chance to really get involved and enjoy some great competition. I sat down with them here recently, so check out this interview. And then after that, Daniel will join the show, and we'll get into the basketball discussion, the LeBron discussion, and more. So here's my conversation with Meaghan and Dave. Take it away, producer Ben. And welcome, folks, to another edition of Steady Droppin Dimes. And we are glad to be joined by our great guest once again, and our gracious host and sponsor. As we tell you all the time, this show would not be possible with our great sponsors over at the Ann Arbor Sports Commission. And we've had a great guest with us on several occasions from the Ann Arbor Sports Commission, Meaghan Hughes, the director over there, who has been so great at telling you about all of the great events that come to town thanks to the Ann Arbor Sports Commission. People think that when we talk about great events in Washtenaw County, that it's all about the University of Michigan or it's all about Eastern Michigan. Well, it goes so far beyond that, and the Ann Arbor Sports Commission plays a big role in that. And to tell us about another great event that is coming to town, Meaghan is with us again today, and with another great guest who we're going to introduce to you here shortly. But first and foremost, Meaghan, welcome back. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you doing? Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, so let's first, before we introduce Fred, let's tell the folks again about the Ann Arbor Sports Commission and all the great things you guys do over there in bringing great events to our area here in Washtenaw County.
Yes. So one, I just have to mention how beautiful today it is in Michigan. The sun shining is got me in a really, really wonderful mood. So I'm very happy about that. I'm very happy to be here today and happy to talk about the Sports Commission and all the great things we do, bringing sporting tournaments, events, meetings to Washtenaw County, supporting sporting tournaments and events in the area however we can. And one of the great events that I'm very excited to talk about with my good friend Fred here is the NAIA Cheer and Dance Championships that we are hosting at the wonderful Eastern Michigan University at the George Gervin Center the end of March in partnership with another great university in the area, Concordia. So Fred is the Director of Championships with NAIA, and we get to work together on bringing this great event, making an success for the athletes and coaches and teams of NAIA to compete in cheer and dance this upcoming March 28th and 29th.
Yeah, Fred Aubuchon from NAIA is with us here today, and you talk about a great competition. Now, Fred, first of all, welcome. Before I get into the excitement of this event, welcome to the show. How are you today? And thanks for joining us.
Oh, thanks, Sam. I'm doing great. Similar to Meaghan, enjoying some well-needed sunshine. I made a joke with my boss a little while ago on an email saying, "Are we going to get to work from home again tomorrow? It's going to be 76 and sunny. We want to enjoy the sunshine for a day." And of course, she said, "No, you need to go to the office. We've had enough work from home days this past winter, so it's nice to have that sunshine."
So, listen. When we think of cheer and dance competitions, and my esteemed co-hosts brought this up on the show, Devin, Gardner, and Daniel Horton, they thought about the movie. They were talking about Bring It On. That came up immediately. They were like, okay, we got to go. They're like, guys, we got to show up. This is going to be so exciting. And so they're excited to make it over, to see the intensity of the competition, the excitement of the competition. Let's tell them before we get into the great event. Let's tell them about, dates, times, ticket information. Let's lay it all out for them, all the great action that's going to be right here in Washtenaw County.
If you go to our website, annarborsports.org, we have all the ticket information live on there. You can buy daily tickets or for the entire weekend. Great family activity. My kids were able to go 2 years ago, and they were so surprised at all the things that happen in cheer and dance. It's like breathtaking. You're like, oh my God, don't drop her. And then they catch her. And it's so exciting.
Right.
And so the dates and times and everything is on our website. But the championship events are Friday and Saturday at the George Gervin Center.
Right. And so, Fred, look, this is the 9th annual NAIA Competitive Cheer and Dance National Championships. And the NAIA, you guys are the only athletics association to offer a national championship in this sport. And so, listen, that is something to be proud of and to stand up and celebrate, because this is an exciting event, and it is one that I think should be celebrated more. And you guys are doing that.
Absolutely, Sam. And let me start with saying I deserve zero credit for that. I was not doing this 9 years ago. I was actually a women's volleyball coach at the time, actually in the NAIA. But the NAIA does deserve some credit for sure. They've worked hard with the coaches to help this sport evolve, to help it become a national championship sport. But the coaches deserve all the credit. They're the ones who worked hard to get the NAIA to listen, to say, hey, we want a national championship in our sport. And the NAIA was just in a perfect position to respond and say, we can do this. And as you said, 9th year. So we're still evolving. This is nowhere near where it's going to end up. we are still finding things every year that we can improve on, whether it's the coaches finding a way to help us improve or the NAIA stepping in saying we see ways to improve. It's now becoming more of a collaborative approach to continuing to improve this championship and this season's.
Okay, so guys, what was the process for kind of securing? Because I know how this works. Whenever you talk about championships or a tournament, it's whatever league or that you're talking about. It's a bid process. So, what was the process for securing this championship bid for the NAIA?
So over the years, I've been attending trade shows and building relationships with different organizations. And one of the one was NAIA. So keeping an eye out on the bid championship events that we would have an opportunity to work on, have the facility meet all of the needs that are listed in those bid requirements. Cheer and dance came up, and we met with Concordia as a partner institution to see what opportunities there were to partner on events to bid on and co-host. They're the experts. Their cheer and dance coach, Kate and Beth, are amazing and such an impactful part of this event and making it a success. So we bid on it along with some other destinations. NAIA then did their due diligence and came out to the George Gervin Center and saw the area to see if it was a good fit. A little while after that, they let us know we were awarded the 2 years back to back. And we started the process of having meetings and planning. And each year it gets easier because it's not reinventing the wheel, but hey, how can we make it better? How can we learn from last year? How can we give them a different experience, but such a great experience? And it's been such a fun event to meet the coaches back to back, with this being the 4th year that we're hosting for some of the returning teams. Fred and I have become really good friends, texting each other, calling each other. Where it's Concordia, the Ann Arbor Sports Commission, and NAIA, making sure that the event is a huge success, and that everybody, fans, coaches, teams have a great experience. For some teams, they're seniors, and this is going to be their last championship experience. So it's important for us and NAIA to ensure this is a memorable experience that they will remember for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, that's a big deal to bring a championship to this area, and especially partnering with Concordia and having Concordia be represented in the event, right, Fred? I mean, that's a huge deal as well.
Absolutely. Just this past weekend, Beth Strom and her dance team won the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference Championship, and so they will officially represent the conference as an automatic qualifier in this national championship. And the cheer team, led by Kate Edge, she's got her team in a great position where they're going to be receiving an at-large bid to this championship as well. And not the entire fields have not been determined yet. We still have competitions going on this evening and up through this weekend, as we'll find out the rest of our qualifiers.
Yeah, so local flavor. It's not just an opportunity to go see some great action from teams from across the country. So just for the enjoyment of the sport, but you get a chance to go and support a local team as well, which raises the level of excitement even more. So that makes it even more exciting to get on out to what is going to be a spectacular event right here as you get on out and make it on over to the George Gervin Game Above Center, to the NAIA Competitive Cheer and Dance National Championships, March 28th and 29th. A great opportunity to see some championship action right here in Washtenaw County. And so, guys, the other piece of it, if you can tell us about the planning and operations process of an event like this, can you? And I asked you about this for the last event, Meaghan. Is how do you guys work together? How does the commission work with the NAIA? How do you bring all of the entities together to work together to put on an event like this?
I'll co-do this with Fred. I know he doesn't want to take all the spotlight, so we can kind of go back and forth, Fred. But We have a lot of meetings, a lot of emails back and forth where Fred is a great communicator with the teams, handling the team's requests, what they need, handling all the NAIA needs and logistics. Where we're boots on the ground in Ann Arbor and Ypsilanti. So we're at George Gervin, making sure that they're meeting the needs, checking out the suites, making sure we have the official suite where they need it. What are the best viewings? What do we need to change this year to make sure everybody has the best advantage of seating, providing great information on what the teams want to do in the area, where we should recommend them. There's always a event that they do the first evening, where last year we took the teams and did a tour of the big house. Sometimes 2-3 years ago, we did a banquet. So we're always looking to mix it up and get them around the entire county where they aren't just seeing the George Gervin Center. But Fred and I and Zach on our team, Zach's our sports operations manager. He meets with Fred a lot too, to ensure everything here is taken care of budget-wise, insurance-wise on the facility. Fred, do you want to elaborate more on what you do?
Sure. I'm going to kind of echo a little bit what Meaghan said about communication. I mean, that it's obviously the key to doing anything like this. But the one thing about Meaghan and Zach, and representing the Ann Arbor Sports Commission, is that there is no message not responded to, whether they're overseas or doing a family vacation. We're still getting responses from them that they know that this is an important event to us and to them and to all these teams. But to me, it's amazing that nothing pauses them from getting the job done. And I'd like to encourage Meaghan to take a moment of pause on occasion and not respond to an email or a phone call. But this, realistically, this all starts back a year ago, end of March. We are evaluating everything the moment it's happening. And Meaghan and I were in deep conversations a lot last year, as were myself and my team, about, hey, maybe next year we can adjust this, we can shift this. But overall, it's been nonstop since that point. So it's been a year of communicating, and the heaviest part starts probably in November, but we started having monthly meetings back in August and just kind of checking in. The things that are probably going to take the longest, get those out of the way first. And then right about mid-November, we start hitting it. And then we start going every 2 weeks with meetings. And that doesn't count the number of times that Meaghan, Zach, myself have jumped on a quick call or just added a Zoom call for just one or the two of us or three of us, and the constant emails. So the amount of communication that goes into running this, I'll tell you this, I didn't expect it before I started working in a position like this. It's a lot. And I can really appreciate and respect what the Ann Arbor Sports Commission does to make sure we're going to put on a great event.
Yeah. And I mean, just coordinating all of the volunteers. I was thinking about that. I mean, who takes that part on all the contacts and, to handle all the people on the ground locally? That's a huge undertaking. I was thinking about who handles all of that.
On this particular event, I have to give so much kudos to Kate and Beth with the cheer and dance team at Concordia. They really lean into their Concordia students and athletes. But for other events, it's the Sports Commission. So if anybody has some free time and is looking to volunteer, please reach out to me. We have a huge U.S. rowing event this summer that is going to be a great opportunity to spend some time out in the sun and learn more about rowing. So please reach out to me. We also have NAIA Golf, Women's Golf Championship, that we are excited to host for the first year this May, and would use volunteers for that as well.
All right. Our guests are Meaghan Hughes from the Ann Arbor Sports Commission and Fred Aubuchon from the NAIA, talking about a great event coming to our area, the NAIA Competitive Cheer and Dance National Championships, March 28th and 29th at the Eastern Michigan University George Gervin Game Above Center. Going to be a fantastic event for you guys here in this community and throughout the southeastern Michigan area and beyond. Come on out and take your families to get on over and see. I know Devin was saying, hey, I can't wait. Fellas, he was telling the Droppin Dimes crew, we got to get on over there and see it. Because he said one of his favorite movies, one of his favorite movies is Bring It On. So he said, fellas, we got to get on over there and see it. So now, Fred, there's an aspect of this I want you to tell us more about, the teaming up for character portion of this event. So can you tell us what that's all about and what the NAIA does at the championship as far as that's concerned?
Sure. This has been a long-standing program that we've done as a part of our national championships, and it's recently been called the Teaming Up for Character. It's had a variety of names in the past, but the goal is to promote our 5 core values, which are integrity, respect, responsibility, sportsmanship, and servant leadership. And to promote that with either local youth or in this case, members of Special Olympics, and allowing our student athletes that are in the event to have a chance to give back and to work with those individuals in a variety of ways. I just came off of a swimming and diving national championship this past week in Elkhart, Indiana. And it was their first time ever working with Special Olympics or members of Special Olympics. And the number of smiles and the excitement on these student athletes, and even some tears of joy that came out of them for how they gave back in those situations. And they were working with them kind of in a smaller area. They did some arts and crafts with them. They did some signature books and, just had some fun with them. But the joy they got from that was amazing. But what cheer and dance does is a whole different level and very exciting. And I don't want to take that away from Meaghan if she wants to talk about that.
Oh, thanks, Fred.
Yeah.
So every year we have tried something different. And last year we partnered with Special Olympics Michigan, and working with them was amazing. Their staff was so amazing, where they wanted to make it special for their athletes along with the NAIA athletes. They had t-shirts made that said "In My Inclusive Era." They really helped make it really successful and special. So the NAIA athletes took the Special Olympic athletes that have interest in learning cheer and dance and to learn those skills on the George Gervin Center. So they got to go on the main floor there and learn cheer and dance drills. And it was really, really special to watch. And we're really excited to continue that partnership this year and do it again.
Yeah, we got a chance to see some of that with the the video portion of it that you guys sent along, and there was that's a great piece that we get a chance to include the community in it. That's a big part that you guys get a chance to include the community in it like that. That's a special part of what you guys do. That is just a tremendous part of this undertaking. So can't
one
say
thing I wanted Sam, I was going to share with this as well is that with our Teaming Up for Character events, it's something the NAIA requires our teams to be a part of, but because of the large volume of athletes, if you could imagine if we brought all 650-ish athletes down to the floor, it would just be overcrowded and maybe a little overwhelming. So all we did was require at least 2 athletes per team. And most of the teams said to us, no, I want to bring my entire team. So we ended up with a lot more than the minimum. We were just looking for 2, and we thought that would be enough. But these teams want to do this so bad and be a part of this that the numbers were pretty heavy on the athlete side, which was fantastic.
That is just amazing. That's just amazing. Guys, I know we're short on time here, but you guys are doing such an amazing job with this event, and it's not even here yet, but I can just tell with the planning of it, it is going to be an amazing event. The NAIA Competitive Cheer and Dance National Championships, March 28th and 29th at the George Gervin Game Above Center. Again, you can get your tickets by going to the website annarbor.org. All the information is there. The ticket information is there. I'm just curious, just talking to the both of you, your personal feelings about what you love about hosting this event here. I mean, we talked about the particulars of putting it on, but what are just your personal feelings about it and what you love about having it here in Washtenaw County?
You know, one of the things that I love about what I do is the building of relationships, and year after year that you get to host. And Fred lives in Kansas, and I get to work with Fred all the time and build a relationship, even though we don't work together in the same office. And same with the coaches that come every year that I get to meet and spend time with and create a valuable experience for their athletes. It's just something that I get to do, and I'm so lucky that I get to do that. And Fred is just one of the examples in the cheer and dance teams of this experience that I get to have. And I'm sure Fred has other destinations that he likes as much too, but I don't want to hear about that, Fred.
Nope, not at all. Yeah, it's either Michigan or nothing.
Yeah.
From my end of it, Sam, to be honest, I've spent a lot of time working with Ann Arbor Sports Commission, with Meaghan and Zach, as I've said, and with their people, and people at Eastern Michigan University as well, with their staff and helping on the inside of what they're going to have to do to help this become successful. But there's a different twist for me. It's working with all the coaches all year long, and being with them and getting their emails and their phone calls, their frustrations, things that happen during the season. And I just want so much for every one of them to have that chance to be at a national championship. And when it comes down to it, it's the 15 best cheer teams in the country and the 12 best dance teams. And so once we get to that, and Meaghan and I get to watch them get out on the court and just go, it's this almost feeling of relief for a moment of, wow, we gave it to them. This is what they came for, and we were able to provide that. And I wouldn't be able to have that feeling if I didn't have a great partner in the Ann Arbor Sports Commission to work with and what they do for us.
All right. Well, let's lay out the particulars one more time. You could be either one of you, just the particulars of when and where the event is and the ticket information. Where can people get their tickets so they can show up, be loud, and have a great time watching this championship event?
I'll do it one more time.
Well, Meaghan, I'm going to jump in before you. I'll kind of proceed it and let you hammer the rest home for us.
Okay.
So on the 28th, on that Friday, they'll be doing their practices in the morning, and then that evening begins what's called prelims. Prelims equal 25% of their overall score. And as we go on to Saturday, that's the finals day. And what they do in the finals is 75% of their overall score. So both days are championship competition. And then I'll let Meaghan take it from there.
Thank you, Fred. And the website says it all. Again, you can go to AnnArborSports.org to learn more. But again, I know as a mom of 2 young kids, I'm always trying to expose them to new sports. So please bring your children and just check this out, because it really is amazing. And the championship level experience and seeing the emotions and the skill behind it, it's really special. And we hope to see you there.
Absolutely. Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you guys. I mean, the purpose was to highlight, the cheer and dance championships. But are there any additional NAIA championships that you're going to be hosting in this area?
We are hosting the Women's Golf Championship this May at Eagle Crest, and you can also find those details and the dates and information. And that is not a ticketed event, so that will be at Eagle Crest in May. Okay. And you can find that at AnnArborSports.org.
All righty. All right. So we will have more to talk about a little bit later on. And of course, the calendar of events over at AnnArborSports.org. Of course, you can always stay up to date, and we'll keep you up to speed on Droppin Dimes as well. Well, Meaghan, Fred, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
On Droppin Dimes.
Thanks, Sam. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot. The NAIA, and of course, we appreciate Fred. We appreciate Meaghan Hughes from the Ann Arbor Sports Commission. We will be joined by Daniel Horton, who I saw.
Our very own Daniel Horton.
Yeah, I saw Daniel. I saw him backstage. There's Daniel. Can we add Daniel to the mix, please? There's Daniel Horton.
My boy, what's good with you?
What's going on, fellas?
Yeah, we thought maybe you were in mourning down there with the Dallas Mavericks fans. Now that their season is officially over. Officially.
Hey, LeBron's growing, and my send the Lakers out too.
Oh,
all
man.
these dudes playing too much basketball.
They are. What we hope though, is, by the way, I was exchanging the pleasantries as far as our friends over at the Ann Arbor Sports Commission. Get on out to the NAIA Cheer and Dance National Championship, March 28th and 29th. It's going to be a fantastic event. Brought to you by the Ann Arbor Sports Commission, the NAIA Concordia University, Eastern Michigan University. Is going to be a fantastic outing. Now, the Big Ten tournament. It is the second season. The second season. It used to be only 2 seasons in basketball. Then the conference tournaments came around. That means it's 3 seasons because the NCAA tournament becomes the 3rd season, fellas. The women's basketball team, Devin and Daniel, man, it feels like they had their reset already because you watch them play in the Big Ten tournament. Man, it looked to me when the seeding came out and you watched them, it said number 1 seed USC versus number 5 seed Michigan. My wife thought it meant the number 1 team in the country versus the number 5 team in the country. And I had to explain to her, no, that's just the seeding in this tournament. But if you watch the game, it looked like the number 1 team in the country versus the number 5 team in the country, the way that game played out.
Yeah. No, it's I didn't get a chance to catch the game actually, but I reviewed, saw the box scores and saw the highlights. They played admirably in that loss to USC. But those that's a tough team, man. USC Juju is the she's next up, so you can't really be mad at the Michigan ladies for not making it past that hurdle. She's like this the next version of it was Caitlin Clark, now it's gonna be Juju, and shoot, from what I'm hearing, it's a couple girls that's in high school that's next up as well. So it's gonna be exciting times for women's basketball.
Yeah, when the season started out, the ladies, now you got to understand, if you look at the background of the women's team, they lost a couple of players in the transfer portal for really the first time. And their best player, Layla Filia, transfers to Texas.
Yeah.
And that was like a huge blow. And so you're bringing in the best class of all time, and you're thinking you're going to pair them with your best player, and it's going to be like, okay, now you're rolling. But it doesn't go like that. And so it's like, oh, man, what's happening? I know the coaching staff was reeling because you aren't able to build on your core players like you thought you were going to be able to, and you're starting out the season against the number 1 team in the country, and it's against Dawn Staley and the number 1 South Carolina game.
So they almost won that game.
Yeah, and it's on the road, and you're not in your place. And man, this squad with these superstar freshmen, number 1, your top class all time, Silas Soares, Olivia Olson. I'm just giving you the top freshmen. Silas Soares, Olivia Olson, Mila Holloway. They step on the court, and it's like, and Silas went off in that game.
Yep.
And they played South Carolina all the way to the bell. It was like, I mean, I'm sure Dawn was like that. And they talked to the Chloe Kitts? They talked to her after the game, and they was like, I know nobody expected it to be this close. It's like, nobody expected us to have to go like this against Michigan. But it was like, Michigan, like, who are you talking about? Like, we expected to be here, right? And so it was these freshmen approached it like that. And it was ups and downs along the way. But then it leads all the way up to this point against USC, fellas, where it was sort of the same way. Like, they played SC during the season, and it was 34-31 at halftime. I remember this game, and I talked to Kim about it. Sila didn't play in that game. Sila was hurt. They had held Juju Watkins to she had held her to 10 points at halftime, and then she blew up for 21 in the second half, and they blew them out. They blew Michigan out. In this game, they had a game plan for Juju where they held her to 8 points in the first half. So They were like, okay, Juju's gonna blow up in the second half, but the difference was they had Sila in this game, and Sila was balling in the first half of this game, and they came out in the second half, and Juju wasn't able to go off quite like that in this game again. And so the difference this time around was Michigan doesn't have a whole lot of size, and they got another big time player in Kiki Iriafin in the post, and she was killing them. She was killing them. She had like 34 or something in the post, man, just working them. And Michigan just didn't have enough in the post to deal with that. And ultimately, in the fourth quarter, they went to their press, and Michigan turned it over like 4 or 5 times against the press. And that's what turned the game for Michigan. Michigan led all the way until like the fourth quarter. And the press flipped the game around in the fourth, and USC wound up winning by like 12 points. But it really turned on the fourth quarter run when they turned Michigan over with their press. That was the difference in the game. Just that, man. So I look at that and I say, man, Michigan can play. If Michigan can play with SC and SC, then they can play with anybody, man.
Yep. Now it's time to hit that transfer portal at the end of the season and go get some bigs. Go get a couple big girls to go with the stud freshmen that you already have, if that's what their deficiency is, right? I think losing the young lady that they lost coming into the season, I think with them being in the Michigan as a whole, the university being in a different position and from an NIL perspective than they were a year ago when they lost her, right? It's going to help strengthen the women's basketball program. They'll be able to keep the young ladies that they have and strengthen the roster. So I know the season isn't over yet, right? The NCAA tournament is about to start, and I think they'll make a nice run. But I'm excited about the future, right? With these young freshmen, and then with the NIL flowing like it is at the university, I think they'll be able to. Next year they'll be really good, really, really good. So I can't wait to see what.
Yeah, man, it was NIL. Like. That's how Layla. It was NIL all the way.
Yeah.
I'm just making sure. I mean,
she went to Texas, right? Yeah,
she went to Texas. Yeah, that's how they lost her.
I think they just won the SEC, right? If I'm not mistaken, Texas women did.
So she got hurt. I think Layla's out right now. And so if people are looking at the box score and looking for her, she got hurt, and so she hasn't been able to play. So she'll be back next year for Texas to finish out her career. But this is where the NIL support across the board for all the sports becomes really important if you want to be able to compete. At the big time level for the against the Jujus and the Lauren Bettses of the world with UCLA, they were able to beat USC after Michigan. I think that probably contributed to it. That Michigan take USC to the hill, and USC beat UCLA twice during the year, right? And then they get in the Big Ten tournament. UCLA finally beats USC.
Beat them in the championship.
Yeah. So it's like, well, what happened? Well, hey, Michigan happened to them. At least that's what I think. So it does make you wonder. I wonder two things that I want to put to you guys. Just your eyes looking at this, because I don't pretend to be some women's basketball aficionado. I'm not. I just watch Michigan women's basketball for the most part. And I know Kim really, really well, and I follow her program from the beginning. And I know I call Melanie more Melly Mel. I know her really, really well. And I know how hard they recruit and grind. And so I watch their program. Has Michigan women's basketball kind of turned? Have they turned that corner? Or are they about to turn that corner and hit that next tier? And has women's basketball turned that corner where it's like, all right, they get the NIL support. All right, it's not just people were here to see Caitlin Clark. They'll pull up and watch women's college basketball. It doesn't have to be we're pulling up to see Caitlin Clark, or my team has to be in the game. I'm gonna watch USC, UCLA in the Big Ten championship game. Has women's college basketball reached that point? Has Michigan women's basketball reached that point where you think they're ready to step up to the next tier?
Yeah, I think so. I think women's basketball for sure has reached that point. And obviously, Caitlin Clark was the catalyst for it all. But Juju Watkins' class is something else. Before the season, they had 6 of the top 20 players, right? You know, the sites do the top players in basketball. They had 6 of the top 20 and 3 of the top 5, right? And so you say, okay, that's preseason though. You don't know, right? Those are sophomores. They're rating them pretty high. But here's what some of them are doing during the season. Obviously, Juju Watkins was a number 1 player. She's averaging 24 and 4%, 42% shooting. And honestly, we don't even have to say her stats because everybody's seen her play, right? We know what time it is with Juju Watkins. But some of the other girls that you may not have seen play, Hannah Hidalgo at Notre Dame, oh my gosh. Her game is so tight. She's a number 4 scorer in the country, right? And this is another sophomore, right? And then you got Madison Booker, who was number 5 on that list. And then Audie Brooks, who I went and had a game at Iowa State. I thought she was a senior last year, right? I see her on the little thing when you go in the airport. I'm like, oh, I remember that girl. She's kind of stocky. She's a sophomore, and she's number 7 in the country, averaging 23 on 60% shooting, right? And then there's a freshman, Michaela Blakes, who plays for Vandy. And I've never seen her play, but she's on that points per game scoring at number 6, right? 23 points on 45% shooting, right? So when you look at the top players in the country and what they're doing, it's young girls, right? Young women who are playing really well, sophomores, freshmen. And I think the sky's the limit, right? The sky's the limit. And like Daniel kind of alluded to, those freshmen, I mean, those girls in high school, man, some of these clips on the internet, and, you know, Daniel, you hate clips. However, when you see game, right, even if it's just a short clip, you know game, and it's almost like watching the men play, right? The only thing they don't do is dunk at a high clip, right? Other than that, they're shooting from deep, and it's not just a Caitlin Clark or a Juju. It's everybody. Everybody's backing up and taking those shots, and it's really impressive to see.
Yeah, I thought the matchup between USC and Michigan had everything but the dunks, and I didn't miss it. Yeah. I didn't miss the dunks. I mean, it had. There was a sequence.
The handle is better than it's ever been.
Yeah. There was a sequence late in the game where Silent was defending Juju, and they went to the ground, and Juju got up like she was ready to do something.
Yeah.
Right? Just for a second. The
Bun is a monster. I like
and Silent was like, hey, I'm not even trying to do anything. But then one of the other freshmen ran in. When a Michigan freshman, Brooke Quarles Daniels, ran in, she little but she feisty, and she was like, "Hey,"
she Isaiah Thomas. She Isaiah Thomas running in there, make sure everything is copacetic, make sure anybody got nothing going on.
Now Juju the franchise, so you know her teammates ran in too. Was like,
of course,
hold up. So, but it wasn't a fight, but you saw just the same kind of competitive juice, that you like to see, the competition with the high skill level that you see in all the games that we watch on the men's side. All that was there.
One of the coolest clips of the year is it was Juju Watkins versus UCLA, and she got busy on them. The second game they played them, and I think it was at UCLA. And so late, she had one game, she had like 8 blocks. The first game, I think she had 8 blocks or something like that. But she had like 3 or 4 in the second game, and she got this one block. It was the girl trying to lay it up. She blocked it, and then it went off the girl, and obviously it's USC's ball, right? And so she's staring at the crowd, like grimming the crowd and pointing, right? And then she's walking down the court, jogging down the court, and Cheryl Miller is on the sideline and gets up, and you know how intense Cheryl Miller is. She slaps her on the butt, right, giving her 5. And then you see like almost like the child in Juju, right? The young lady who is, you know, maybe her idol, or somebody who, you know, I think is a person that really is the first catalyst for women's basketball that I know of. And she kind of like laughs and smiles, and it's just such a genuine moment. It was really cool to watch.
Yeah, Brooke's she's not a freshman, but she's a transfer, so it's her first year at Michigan.
Yeah.
So, but it was you like to see it, and I feel like this team has the ingredients. They just don't have the size, but they can get by that. They can get by that, I think, long enough to make a run.
Kim's a really nice coach, man. She's done a
she's
really great job since she's gotten there. I mean,
really
it wasn't a whole bunch of talk about how good she is or whatever that I heard. However, right, you just don't know. And she's been able to do more with less from the start. And now she's getting really good players because, like you said, the NIL and how it's spread out. And they need to, you know, give her a little bit more help, right? Because if you can see what she can do without big NIL, right? You saw we lost a player to Texas, and you know what that's all about. If she can do this without that big NIL pot, what can she do with it, right? And so I just think you got to give her a shot, right? You got to give her a shot and give them a shot because in the new NIL era, there's only so much you can do. If you're not paying players, right, you're not getting the best players. You can be the best coach in the world, but coaches coach. The players have to play, right? And if you can't get all the good players or some of the good players, it's going to be hard for you to compete at the highest level, right? You'll always be scrappy. You'll always be right there close, but you won't ever get over the hump. And I think that she deserves, because of what she's done with less, I think she deserves to get over the hump. And Michigan, the fan base, everybody has to help her.
Yeah, man, it's fantastic to see. And I admit, at the beginning, you know, I was a Coquise Washington guy when Michigan was looking for a new women's basketball coach, and Coquise from Flint Central. You know, and Coquise was that was my pick, I admit. And you know, she's it didn't work out. And then they wound up going with Kim, and Kim has been fantastic.
Yeah, she's been good.
She's been fantastic. She's the winningest basketball coach in Michigan history, surpassing John Beilein. And I think she has a chance to take this team. She's already taken Michigan to an Elite Eight. And I think she has a real chance to go on another run just like it again this year. I'm knocking on wood. And like I said, man, you know, for me to pick Michigan against Dawn, that's, you know, to pick any team.
That says a lot.
That says a lot. That
Man,
says a lot.
You wanted Dawn to be a coach of boys basketball.
Right. talking real crazy.
I wasn't talking crazy.
Yes, you are.
I do think Dawn can coach a men's team.
I think
she could coach. I mean, she could coach basketball, but also theoretically she could coach anybody, right? But we're not gonna do that, Sam.
Stop hating on Dawn now.
I ain't hating no Dawn. Let her keep dominating where she at, man.
Don't stop hating on Dawn, man. I was in love with Dawn Staley when I was ooh boy. Not anymore.
That's your favorite episode of Martin, ain't it?
Not anymore. Dawn is not Miss Trinidad. She's not Miss Trinidad. You know, I've happily been.
Oh yeah, Miss Trinidad.
Miss Trinidad. Third grade teacher.
All right, now Sam, don't get our show canceled.
I just said Dawn is not Miss Trinidad.
Hey, Daniel, this show gonna get cut real short.
Said Dawn is not Miss Trinidad. I said when I was a kid.
Hey, the screen gonna go black. Everybody, what happened?
What happened?
Not no more.
So, fellas, has entered the chat.
I don't see Keegan always trying to get me in trouble. Well, somebody like when I was doing the championship, and the cleaner, the lady came to the door to clean the room. I said, this lady coming to the room, and I'm in the room. Like, you can't be walking up in the room while I'm in the room, lady, clean the room. What kind of crazy, you know,
Sam, that happens to me quite frequently.
Now, she was fine, but you can't be walking up in here while I'm cleaning the room. What kind of stuff is that?
We're not going to have a show next week, Daniel.
Can you imagine?
At least it's just going to be me, you, and Ben next week.
Right.
Now, can you imagine? Now, think about that. I'm in the room.
So I'm going to have extra makeup over his eye.
Think about how bad this looks. I'm in the room, and we doing the show. And this fine woman walk up behind me while we doing the show. It's like, lady, are you crazy?
They're like, who is that in the same room?
Exactly. You crazy lady. You can't be doing that.
And I'm doing the show. I ain't got no pants on.
It's just the woman. It's just the cleaner people. Like, you can't be doing that. You can't be doing that.
ADG Sam in his room. He like Charles Barkley. He only got on his shirt and a hat.
That's housekeeping.
Hey, Sam, hey, that's the story we're going to roll with.
It's like it was just no, we ain't just rolling. No, we ain't just rolling with it. It was just housekeeping. Like housekeeping, you got housekeeping. You about to get me in trouble. You can't just be doing that housekeeping.
Hey,
Come
I
on
saw a
now.
video on the internet yesterday. It has nothing to do with
That's
anything. Y'all know
crazy.
how I do. But I
It's
saw a
like,
video
hey
on the
man,
internet yesterday.
hey, Marriott was about to get sued. I don't know if Marriott ever been sued for something like that, but Marriott was about
And
to
you
get
would have
sued.
won. You can sue anybody, everything. But listen, it's another hotel thing, right? So a guy, he was at a hotel, right, all night. Wife or girlfriend sees his location, right? So she pull up on him in the morning, and he at the desk, right? And she's like, "What you doing?" Like, she got the video out. She ready to roll. She about to kill him on social media. And guess what he say? He said,
working.
"Nah, I'm getting a job application." What you talking about? Hey, he said, "I'm getting a job application." He said, "Hey, I'm getting a job application." And the dude behind the counter said, "Yeah, man, he was just trying to get a job application."
He's trying to help him out.
Obviously, that
He's
didn't
trying to help
work.
a brother
Obviously,
out.
I'm sure,
Hey,
But
he
she,
said, "Man, I
the
ain't gonna
girl
break up
kept
no happy
asking him,
home."
and it
I
seemed
hear
like
you.
he was getting away with it a little bit. I'm like, that is crazy.
I hear
You've been
that's
here
his
all
new best
night
friend.
trying to get a job.
Brother said, "I ain't breaking up no happy home."
Dog, leave me
House
out of
my
it.
guy.
trying to break up a happy home.
Yeah, that was funny.
So anyway, all right, let's talk about these men, fellas. Let's talk about the Michigan men's basketball team, because if the women are trending up, fellas, the men are trending down when you consider the way that things have gone for them the last few weeks. They have been shooting terribly anyway, but they have been able to play over that for the better part of some weeks, but not as of late, as they have lost their last 4 games. They lost to, or they let 3 of their, or 4. Let me get this right. So they lost to.
They lost 3 straight for sure.
They lost 3 straight,
Mhm.
and then you go back to the Michigan State game. So they lost 4 of their last 6, is what it is. If you go back to the Michigan State game, and the shooting over the last 5
We
weeks.
gonna stop talking about shooting because it's way deeper than just shooting.
Speak
Okay.
on it. Speak on it, Daniel.
Well,
It's way
it's been
deeper than
terrible.
shooting.
It's been really terrible though,
Yeah.
the last month or so, and it capped off by the worst shooting game of the season, 3 for 24 against Michigan State, Daniel. So you look at that heading into the Big Ten tournament, and you ask yourself, how do you turn this around at this point?
Yeah, no, it's not about. It's of course you got to make shots, right? Like it's at the end of the day, it's a make or miss game. Does the ball go in the hole or not, right? But before you get to all of that, there's certain things that you have to be good at, and certain habits you have to have if you want to win championships, if you want to at any level, right? Like for basketball, I'm pretty sure Devin could speak to this for football. The formula for winning doesn't change as far as the fundamentals. Like in football, you got to block, tackle, or whatever they say in football, right? In basketball, if you're not tough enough to block out, if you can't take care of the ball, like before you even get to how many shots you made, and if you can't guard the ball, you're not going to win very many games, especially this time of year where and we're in the position Michigan's in, we're playing for a Big Ten championship, regular season championship, right? And then the schedule was backloaded with some like the other top teams in the conference. So not only were you in championship mode, you're playing against the other top teams in the conference. So the level of play every night requires certain things from you, and we were severely lacking in a lot of those areas as far as toughness on the boards, taking care of the ball, execution. We don't put a body on people when we're screening. Like there's a lot of little things that we've really gotten away with all year. We've had timely shot making and made timely plays and played enough defense to win, right? But in order to get over the hump, to get where they want to get to, which is win a Big Ten regular season, which is over now, but win a Big Ten tournament championship, they have to find a way to correct some of those things before Friday, or it won't matter how many shots you make, right? You can make all the shots in the world, but if you're giving up 15 to 20 offensive rebounds and turning the ball over 15 times a game, and you're just not going to win, right?
So dang, what do you do, right? So just the fundamental things like blocking out and what it sounds like effort stuff. What do you do if you're the coach and this is 3 straight games, and maybe even more than that from what I'm hearing. You saying they just getting away with it. But what changes do you make in such a short amount of time to make sure that that's not a problem in the Big Ten championship tournament? Because I think they are talented enough to win it, right? But if they don't do it the right way, if they don't do those things, there's no chance.
Yeah, no, if you don't, there's no way around, especially in the Big Ten, Devin, there's no way around toughness, physicality, blocking out, taking care of the basketball. Those things are at a premium in this conference, right? So if you, like you said, if you don't do those things, you're not going to win. And to be honest, 30-something games into the season, you are who you are at this point.
That's tough.
Right? So and it's a tough thing to deal with as a coach. You kind of hope that you can put together 30 to 40 minutes of great basketball where you do those things. But so even going into the next game
and say, hey, we can do it.
Exactly. But if you don't, until you have that moment, you are who you are, right? So you got to kind of, it's gonna take say they play Purdue Friday, right? That's a team or a game where they can step out there and kind of prove some things to themselves and the rest of the conference. Like, hey, we have some deficiencies, but we've been working on them and we're doing our best to fix them, right? But like you said, they have to have that moment where they put together a complete game to remind themselves or show themselves that they can do it. So they're in a tough place right now, man. I don't want to use the word expose, but pretty much like, at this time of year, everybody knows what you're doing, right? For everybody. Michigan knows what the other team is doing. Everybody knows what Michigan is doing. So you got to find a way to execute at a high level.
Yeah. So here's the thing, though, Daniel. You are what you are at this point, but they haven't been this bad shooting. There's bad, and then there's this bad. And so how do you get out of this kind of funk? Like they aren't 12%, 19%, 22%. They aren't this bad a shooting team. So how do you get out of that?
No, you got, first of all, to get out of the shooting slump. Only way I know to get out of it is to put in work, right? Get in before and after practice, get shots up, try to rebuild your confidence, and hopefully you see something go in during the game. But Sam, they're not as bad a shooting team as they've been, but also the level of competition has stepped up as well, right? So you can be a great shooting team against the Bowling Greens and the Western Kentuckys and all those type of teams, but then you play against Michigan State, Illinois, Purdue, where or just in conference period where teams have 2-3 days to prepare for you and you're not getting those same looks. Like I said, you kind of are what you are. I never really thought Michigan was a great shooting team to begin with. I thought they had the ability to make shots, but there's a difference between being a good shooting team and having the ability to shoot the ball, right? So they got to figure some things out. They're in a tough spot right now. I want to see some adjustments from the coaching staff and the players, right? The point guard play and the guard play has been really bad the last 6 weeks or so.
I don't know what to make of that. So, I don't know what to make of that.
Daniel, back in my day, high school basketball obviously didn't get a chance to play at the highest level, high school, in college, whatever. But we were 24-2, at the Breslin, all those different things. But anytime we didn't shoot well, or me personally, I shot a lot of threes. Anytime I didn't, right, I just like leaned into the other things more.
Yes, sir.
Right. And then when I did that, right, defensively, I get some layups. I see it's almost like a quarterback who can't hit the deep ball right now. It's like, all right, let's just hit some layups.
Throws.
Let's hit some little shit. Right. So is that the way? Like the first thing we talked about was the inability not the inability, but they're just not boxing now, do the little things, right? So do you think that leaning into all of that more and overdoing, like going harder on all those things, will lead to easy shots, not only easy shots, but just the raising shooting percentage and confidence?
Yeah, no, for sure. There's this crazy thing with basketball, Devin, and you touched on it, right? Like when you lose yourself in the rest of the game, your offense tends to pick up, right? When you get after it on defense.
Every time I wasn't shooting good, if I just start really, really locking up and just diving on the floor, doing all this stuff, then I get kicked to rock, and it's like, oh, it goes down easy. I I don't know why, because I'm not super into basketball like that. I don't know why, but I just remember that being a thing.
You're right. You get a steal, you lock in on defense, you get in the passing lane, get a steal, get an easy
Don't
layup.
let me get it done. Oh, no. We're not laying nothing.
Yeah, you're right.
Don't
my
let
bad.
me get it done. Oh, this game is over, son. I'm about to have 30. If I get a dunk in the game, it's on. It's
hey,
on.
you get that easy two or get to the free throw line because the guy fouled you.
Yeah.
And you see the ball go in a couple of times, and of course those type of things definitely will raise confidence and put you in a better mind frame when you shoot the ball. But I think for Michigan, I think they kind of get into some more direct, some more specific actions, right? They run a lot of triggers and they run a lot of concepts. They have a lot of concepts within their offense where, hey, if this guy does this, do this, we're going to read and react. I think now is a time of year where you need to have more direct, hey, we're trying to get this specific shot. We're going to go through this. We're going to set a down screen into a back screen, or we're going to set a stagger screen into a ball screen. Like, you have to have these specific actions in order to compromise the defenses. Because if you're just playing out of flow and playing off your triggers
people
this time
probably don't understand trigger. Explain like a play that's a trigger play rather than what you're talking about they need to do more of.
All right, so a trigger is kind of when you're pushing in transition or your secondary break, where it can either be in transition where you have a numbered advantage, or it can be when all five guys are back, when you cross half court and say it's a trigger. So one trigger might be if the point guard crosses half court by dribble, that triggers the big man to come set a ball screen or a drag screen. Or if I pitch it up to the same side that I'm on to the guy that's running the side of the floor and he pitches it back.
Run through.
Exactly. There's different triggers based on what the point guard does, or some teams trigger around what the big man does, the five man if he's trailing in transition, because a lot of teams play 5-out basketball now. So there's different triggers of, okay, so if the point guard dribble handoffs with the guy on his side, that triggers actions on the weak side. So, or we're going to come down and call us, hey, we're going to go horns 1. That's going to trigger, hey, that's going to say, hey, that's not a trigger, that's actual play. So in horns 1, we're going to come off the high ball screen into a staggered on the weak side, right? Those are specific actions that teams have to guard, and you know where your shots are coming from. So I know when we run horns, the first shot look is coming from the guy coming off the stagger screen. Right. So these guys know I have to set a screen for this guy, set a good screen so we can get this look. Whereas we're playing out of flow, guys are kind of skipping past each other, not really screening. The ball is moving a little quicker, but you don't really have specific actions that everybody's coordinated on, so you can get a specific shot. So I think that's probably the best way I can explain.
So throughout the season, you've seen they've done way more trigger than set play, right? So could that be an advantage going in the tournament? Could that be an advantage though? Could that be an advantage? Say, hey, they don't know our plays because we ain't ran none really, right? So now you come off and get all this action, and then you get back in the trigger later in the game or whatever the case may be. Do you think that could be an advantage going into the tournament?
No, it's definitely an advantage when you don't. I think what you Devin, I think you on point today, brother. Because in conference play, right, when you have 2-3 days to prepare for that, it makes it harder, right?
It's too
but
quick.
in tournament play, where it's you play one day, rest, play another day, then your triggers will definitely be more effective, right? But in conference play, man, when teams have 2-3 days to prepare for you, they kind of
they do this when they do this. All right,
yep. Those things, your triggers get predictable. So.
But now you get in the tournament, not a lot of time to prepare. You run trigger here, and then off of the trigger, you got this play that they think is about to be the trigger, but it's not.
Now you got your counters and your wrinkles. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
so
you have identified what Dusty has. This is the DNA of who they are, but it's one of the things that we talked about early in the season, Daniel, where I asked you specifically, could you actually be both? Is it possible? It's kind of like it's kind of like a question I asked about Vance. I asked Vance a question a little while ago, concept defensively, when we talked about, hey, Vance, can you when you're talking about can you pattern match? Are you a
pattern match team?
Yeah, are you a pattern match team? Or are you a spot drop team? And he's like, I don't know if you could be both, Sam. I mean, he's like, I'm kind of.
It's difficult for sure.
Yeah, it's difficult.
There's not enough practice time to become really good at both.
right. And so it's
unless
kind
you
of
have unless you have talented guys, right?
yeah,
Ultra
Then,
talented.
yeah. You have those NBA level guys, then you can be both. But
yeah.
right
And
now,
it's kind of a similar question. Once you get into that mode of, hey man, we're a team who plays off flow, and that's what Dusty said. Well, you know, we're a flow team. That's we're constantly in motion, and we're a read team. That's how we play. We aren't coming down playing off of these sets like that. But I asked you, I said, hey man, I just feel like there are times where you're gonna want to be more conventional and traditional. You come down, I got my point guard, I'm calling the play, we running the set. Can you get into that mode at a time where it feels like they might need more of that? Or is it too late? Like, because you said you 30 games in, you are what you are. Can
no,
you
they've done
dial
it.
that
They've
up
done
now?
that. They've done that a little bit of that. I remember against shoot, man, it was about 3-4 game stretch where they won it by 1 or 2 possessions, and they got into some set plays at the end of the game. They have their double staggered play where they get into a staggered on one side into a staggered on the second side into a middle ball screen,
For
a
who?
middle 4-5 ball screen, right? And so they have stuff that they've drawn up and they went to. But the thing is, in this league, once you show it one time or once you do it one game and it works, you can best believe the team is prepared. Whoever you play next is going to be prepared for it.
Okay,
So
so who are we running off of these staggers?
I think Namari normally comes off the first one and until he's going to be the first screener into a double stagger for Danny coming out of the second corner. And when Danny catches it at the top, Vlad is peeling back into the 4-5 ball screen. And so it's a European concept that normally it manipulates the weak side help and who's tagging on the roller when you get to the 4-5 ball screen. So that's why you see the game we actually ran it, we had a lot of success with that set, right? And Dusty's gone to some other things as well. Like he ran another set against a couple sets against Ohio State. One where Roddy curled around and got a dunk at the easy wide open dunk at the rim. You know what I mean? Uncontested. So Dusty's ran some really good stuff at times throughout the course of the season. But over the last 4, 5, 6 games, to be honest, Sam, we got to that point. He hasn't been in a position to call anything, right? The
Yeah,
game has been, 11, 12-point game. You're trying to push the pace and create more possessions. At that point, you don't want to get into a bunch of sets. So
because see, I guess my question is, can you run some actions to get Namari free? Because he, of all the guys who I think you need to be getting some looks for, he's the one who I think you got to give some space.
So
He's the
I
one.
think they have him in the perfect role right now. When you start trying to run him off screens, like with his shot mechanics, it's going to be tough for him to be as consistent as he is now. Like when he's able to catch and shoot from the corners or from the 45, where he's playing off other people's penetration and playmaking, that's perfect for him. Now we start running him off screen, saying with his wide base and the way he shoots the ball, and him not getting his shoulders completely turned, like he's not that type of shooter, right? Not that I've seen, right? Maybe
Yeah,
if you want to catch and get him on the move into other actions, maybe. But if you run those screens for him to come off and shoot because he's shooting a high clip, you got to think he's shooting like that off catch and shoots, not shooting on the move. So that's probably something they've seen in practice as well. Maybe why they don't do a lot of that stuff. So
I hear you.
as he recruits better players, for right now they're in a tough spot. But as he brings in guys like Trey McKinney and the kid from Oregon and other guys, you have guys who are more versatile, in their
But
ability
then,
to shoot the ball and score.
so then do you need to do that with trade in?
What do you mean?
To,
Trey. Now Trey
run
has
him
the
off
shot
the
mechanics, so
screen.
you can Trey's the guy that he has a shot mechanics, so you can run him off screens and do certain things. But now you put him, if you're running him off screens, who's handling the ball?
I guess Kason maybe.
Okay, I take it you haven't watched our latest film breakdown of why you don't play freshmen this time of year unless they're like one of the best players on your team.
Yeah, I hear. Look, it sounds like they got limited options at the moment, man.
Right, but that when you play those guys, you give up. You have to understand you're going to give up stuff on the other end, right? Like, yeah, you can put them in handle the ball, and it'll balance your offense out a little bit more. But on the other end, those guys have been getting taken advantage of a little bit on defense.
He's clearly expressing through how much he's playing his freshman some disappointment in Tre. Tre's play is being adversely impacted by his lack of shot making. You can see
Tre's play has been adversely affected by his lack of his unwillingness to play defense. That's why he's being taken out the game.
Well, but I think that's a product of his lack of shot making.
No, it
shouldn't be.
You got to be careful, because now you're calling the kid a front runner without saying it.
Well, but
you said he's only plays defense if he's making shots. I don't want to do that.
Well, listen, it shouldn't happen.
True.
It shouldn't
happen.
Might be.
It could. It's a true. To be honest, that's true for a lot of guys.
From what you've seen, like, is it true that because he's not making shots, he's lazy on the? You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that's.
No. You absolutely right. Like, there's a lot of guys like that. I don't like to label guys that, because that's a terrible label to have in basketball. But there's
don't be lazy on defense then.
There's a lot of people in basketball that are front that only play defense, that only they only play as their shot goes. Like, if you're making shots, they're gonna do everything else. If they ain't making those shots, the game gonna suffer.
So, and let me be clear what I'm saying. I think it's a cumulative thing.
Okay.
I don't think it was always that way, but I think it compounds. I think as he has gotten into a deeper funk, I think it's gotten worse. Like, at first it was like, okay, he's still going, but then he's not making shots, and then they got, oh man, and then he started hanging his head more, and then it started affecting this game more.
Yeah.
And they get to the point now where you up at Michigan State and Tre on the bench at Michigan State.
Yeah.
Like, what is that?
And the freshman is more confident offensively. Like, he's definitely, and he's really at this point in the season where their games are, he's been the better player offensively for Michigan. And that's not saying a lot, because he's only getting 2, 4, 5 points per game, but Tre hasn't really been doing much of anything.
No.
So, but all of that is compounded, or I think it starts with the fact that the guard play on defense has been really bad.
Yeah.
And it's been really bad on defense. And you could kind of get away with some of that with their play being subpar on offense, because Danny and Vlad have played so well and so consistently, especially Vlad at times, right? So it can kind of balance itself out if those guys aren't playing quite as well. But the way they've been playing lately that's unacceptable. It's no way to put it. It's unacceptable.
No, we've been talking about that for a while.
The answer is, Tre, lose yourself in everything but scoring in the game, and that stuff will come. Lose yourself, right? Dive on the floor, be the guy with the vocal guy, right? Screen, do all the stuff you need to do, box out, rebound, dive on the floor, all this stuff. And hopefully a shot will come, but you will still be a better asset if you're doing all of that, even if you aren't scoring.
And DG, it has to be genuine too. It can't be fake, like, oh, I'm just doing it, I'm just going rah. No, like, I know some people believe in fake it till you make it. No, it has to be genuine. Mm-hmm. Like, you have to really be lost in the team, lost in my responsibilities, and what's my next assignment, right? And I know that sounds like coach speaking. It sounds real general, like, but that's really where he's at right now. Hey man, what's my next assignment? I got to stack good plays and good reps on top of each other in practice first, and then come out here in the game and be focused and lead my team and lose myself in my team and let the chips fall where they may. And he's shown the ability to affect games. He's made game winners. He's had games where he's had them their double doubles in points and assists. I think he has the ability to be an all-conference player next year if he comes back, right?
I do too.
He just has to, it's like what I talked about early in the season. What I tell you was going to be the thing with him. His mentality, right? And here we are. It's not physical with him. It's all mentality and his ability to lead, man.
That's the reason why I draw the conclusion that I'm drawing. It part of it goes back to my first conversation, or the conversation that I had with him in a preseason, where I was like, hey, you got this reputation as you're a setup guy. He said, no, hey man, I'm a scorer. Like that. That's me. I'm a scorer first. That's what I do. I score. Right. And then that's my mentality. And I can set up 2.
You know what this reminds me of? You remember we kind of talked about, I think it might have been on Monday Morning Quarterback with Donovan, when he kind of like put it, I'm leaving this year, all this, whatever. And now you put so much pressure on yourself when you get in the season and things aren't going well. Well, I think it's kind of the same thing, right? Like that statement just to you, right, has put him in a position where now that he's not scoring, right, mentally he's not in it, right? Because he's put it out there. I'm a scorer. I can set up, but that's really secondary. I'm who I am at my core is a scorer, and now I'm not scoring. So who am I?
Wait,
right?
So
I think
you on fire today, boy.
Wait, let me set it up right. So
hey, DG on fire today.
Yeah, I don't want to mischaracterize the conversation. He was a guy who was in there with, so Mila Holloway is a point guard on Michigan's women's team. Her brother Aiden Holloway is the point guard on Auburn's team, and Tre
was the
number 2.
Alabama now.
Yeah, Alabama now, but he was at Auburn last year. And Tre was number 2. And so Tre was seen as more of the
help, right? The others, right?
He was seen as more of the other guy, more of the guy who would be the pass first guy, and wouldn't come in and try to look for a shot. And he was like, "Nah, y'all got me wrong. I'm a scorer. That's what I do." Anybody who thought
he was a scorer in high school for sure.
Yeah, that anybody who thought that I was a pass first guy, that's not me. I'm a scorer. That's just the role that they had me in. I'm a scorer. I'm a shooter. I shot 40% from 3. So when I did shoot it, you could see I'm a scorer. You're gonna see here at Michigan more of that. I can score.
It's a lot of pressure on yourself.
But I can. But I'm gonna set up 2 here, but you're gonna see more of what I can do while I'm here. So it wasn't like
I completely understand, but like I'm just speaking those words out, and that puts pressure, because Sam, you ain't no little time, like ain't nobody gonna see this, right? When somebody says something to Sam Webb, that thing is rolling, right?
Put it out in the public.
Every Michigan fan, I'm sure everybody in the chat heard that statement, right? And so it's just like, bet we got to score. We like this is it. And now that he's unable to score, right? It's in the back of his mind. I honestly, man, I'm just telling you, and Daniel knows this, right? Most of this is mental, man. And somebody needs to have a conversation of like, hey, man, don't worry about that. Don't worry about the fact that you wanted to prove that you were a scorer or whatever.
Be what your team needs you to be.
Be whatever they need you to be. Just
be
like
whatever your team needs you to be. Right? Like you like as point guards, as quarterbacks, that's your job first, right? Be what your team needs you to be. Like, so yes, sure, we all have individual characteristics. Some quarterbacks may be able to run better than others, some throw it farther than others, some point guards like to score more than others. But that your first job is to be whatever your team needs you to be. You are the tip of the spear on defense and offense.
And that's why Bronny is who he is.
Oh yeah, we gonna get to,
and that's why he is whoever he needs to be.
We gonna get to,
especially if he need to roll up on somebody.
That is let's wrap this part of the discussion up by saying I think that's a valuable piece of advice, because the part about defense in the backcourt has been an ongoing discussion, not for weeks, for months.
Yeah,
I remember us coming out of I keep talking about that Minnesota game. Like, they were terrible.
Yeah.
The guards. I mean, everyone talking about that shot Dawson Garcia made. Dawson Garcia is a baller. Dawson Garcia is going to make shots against a lot of guys.
Whoa.
He's going to make shots against a lot of guys.
Sam's been hacked.
I've been hacked. What happened? Am I still here? Can y'all hear me?
EOS webcam utility X.
Okay. Well, I'll be back here. Dawson Garcia is going to do that against a lot of guys. But the guards are not, and they were like
5 points per game.
They were like Michigan up in that game. So, hey, man, they gotta play better defense. That's part you can control. You're not gonna hit your threes every game, but you can play hard-nosed defense to the point where Trey Holloman not gonna go off on you.
And you don't have to be the best individual defender. Like, it's all about knowing the game plan. You could be positionally sound on defense and be a great team defender, right? There's ways you can be a good defender, and it starts with knowing the game plan and taking pride in your defense. You don't have to be Gary Payton, but if you're able to know the game plan, hey, we're going to send this guy this way and be in the correct spots and the correct positions, DG, you can be a good defender. You don't have to, like I said, you don't have to
trust
be
me, I know.
Kawhi Leonard.
I wasn't trying to become a great basketball player. I just was good at it because I was a good athlete, and I knew that, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to be. I mean, if somebody's doing too much, right? All right, I'm gonna guard them, right? Because I'm just not gonna let that happen. But for the most part, it's like be where you're supposed to be, right? Help defense, understanding. Can he shoot? Why am I guarding him so closely, right?
Yeah.
He can't shoot. Why am I so far away from it? Like, just understanding. It's so funny because we got the football. They play basketball, and so for football, I can help them understand. And I got methods to teaching them different things in football. But for basketball, I can't help them. I know what they need to do. I feel like I'm explaining it, but they just don't understand because I don't have it enough. I just knew what to do and how to do it because I had, I played with the family in a row running that, good coaches.
And you a natural winner, right? Like,
figure it out.
Yeah, like
kids can't figure it out these days.
Hey, winners win at all levels. No matter, you can see him as young kids, you can see him as at junior high school. No matter what, they might not have the best players, they might not have the best whatever, but winners win, bro. At every level.
Another one, competitors compete. No matter if you 7 years old going in with 12-year-olds, or you 12 going in to play with high school kids, or high school kids, you go, hey, let's see what I can do against these NBA guys or college or whatever. Like,
if I'm going to the Breslin on the Friday night, you know what I mean? I'm competing.
I've never been the guy that, I don't know if I can excel in this setting. And it seems like that's a thing for a lot of people, a lot of kids or whatever. And it's just like, I don't care what setting it is. I don't care who is in the setting. I'm the guy until proven otherwise. And even then, I'm still the guy.
Yeah.
So.
I think my dog Tre need a little bit of that, man. But like I said, that stuff.
I think he might have it. I just think his personality you can't see it, because when I watched that IMG tape, he wasn't missing shots. I ain't talking about he was, playing real good. Like, literally was not missing shots against one of the, like probably the best team. They got the best players, right? That was so impressive to me, because I had the same question you had, because I've seen him live as a sophomore and as a freshman, and I just, like, I'm talking about up close. I'm like, man, he physically is like a grown man, and he got that. However, I just don't see no dog, but he got 30. But I don't see no dog, but he got 27, and he passed to his teammates, but he don't have no dog. But then when I watched that IMG tape, I said,
saw something different, right? Yeah.
I said, hold on now. Maybe he just biding his time because people ain't good enough. He like, you know what? These guys are good enough to get my best, right? Like Goku. Like, Goku ain't turning Super Saiyan if he fighting somebody that ain't worthy. But when it's time to get busy, you know what Goku does.
Yes, sir. Hey, Sam, so I think one thing for Tre Donaldson, I think for him,
man, he was going off the screen, man.
Hey,
what are you doing?
I mean, that could have been Michigan's coach if Dusty didn't do the coach.
Hey, so Tre Donaldson was a 4-star football player in high school, wasn't he?
I don't know.
Wasn't he a highly recruited football player?
No, he can't have been, because Sam would know.
You said Sam would know.
Sam would know.
Maybe not. I thought I read something. He said play football in high school.
Sam would have been like, "Oh yeah, he
was four-star.
I thought he played football. I thought I read somewhere he played football in high school.
He probably played football and was okay, but he wasn't like a 4-star thing. People lie.
But even if he did play football in high school, right? If that's true,
I don't remember him being a 4-star. I don't remember him being a 4-star.
Maybe, but
somebody said he was a top 300.
Somebody said he was top. Yeah,
maybe he was a top 300 on another service.
But point being, right? Lean into some of that, especially in this conference, this time of year. Like,
but it said he was a quarterback, though. It said he was a quarterback.
Oh, okay.
He probably was finessing it. Yeah, he wasn't really mixing it up.
I'm about to say lean into some of that. This time
Keegan Imhoff says he was a QB.
Yeah, man.
And in the top 300 QB, you're not that good.
Hold on, let me see.
You're okay.
Let me see if he was high. Let me see if he was higher rated on 247.
Top 300
man,
QB.
lean into some of that football toughness, especially in this conference this late in the year. Man, get physical with these boys, man.
What's the one kid, Jalen Suggs? He was nice as a quarterback.
Yeah, yes.
He was actually like really, really good. And so you can see some of that in his hoop game, right? You can see some of that attitude, some of that just intensity.
So no, so yeah, see they're using other services. So
They just
this
make
is
up
this
stuff.
is the danger. This is the
QB
danger.
hit list. They use QB hit list.
They use other rankings. They use other rankings, not our rankings. Who was
Okay.
that? Was that Keegan Imhoff? See, he was a 3-star on 24/7.
Which is like he's just a guy.
Keegan, so he was not a 4-star on according to our rankings. He was a 3-star on
Hey,
our.
but hey, you're a football. If you played football in high school, man, lean into some of that with this basketball, especially in this conference. I think that'll help him as well. Be physical. You can be physical at the point guard position. I used to like that stuff.
Yeah, so
But yeah, nah, hey, he'll be all right though, man. I can't wait to see how the season finishes and
yeah, he was
his preparation for next
He was a
year.
3-star safety according to 24/7.
Oh, he was a safety too.
Oh no, so that should have. He should have something with him.
Yeah,
That's some of that should translate.
yeah.
3-star safety according.
That's like the quarter. I was a quarterback. I mean,
I
I was a violent quarterback, right? Sam can attest to this. I was trying to run through people and I was mixing it up quite a bit. But most quarterbacks not doing it, especially now.
Yeah.
I remember Coach Carter used to have a conversation with me. He say, Devin, I don't need a linebacker at quarterback. Could you chill? Sorry. The intensity.
Sometimes it's okay to be.
Yeah.
Big Ten had plenty linebackers at point guard that's been pretty good over the years. Michigan State that had a couple of them.
you what kind of shot? So we can move on to talking about LeBron and Stephen A. What kind of shot you give Michigan against probably Purdue on Friday at 9:00, Daniel?
Since they beat Purdue, I give them a pretty good chance. They got some confidence going against Purdue and what they do in that scheme. But if they play like they played the last 3 games, I don't care if they could play Purdue or they could play Detroit Catholic Central or one of them Detroit high schools.
Orchard Lake, Orchard Lake. They can play Trey McKinney.
They can play Orchard Lake and they gonna get beat if they play the way they've been playing these last 3 games. So, but I think hopefully they've had 2 or 3 good days of practice and they're ready to go. If they play like they played the last time they played Purdue, they'll be fine.
And by the way, my wife has seen that picture. By the way, that was a perfectly innocent promotional.
Man, stop bringing that up, man. Just be cool, man.
What's
me and Daniel like doing this show, man. Just relax.
See, that was a picture of Devin Gardner. He'd be like, put that picture up, Sam. Put that picture up,
next
Sam.
week's show with
that was Devin Gardner.
That picture I have one, and I did not tell you to put it up. I have one. I have one.
DG, he's gonna do next week's show with a steak on his eye. Watch.
I know, right? Dang, Sam, you ran into that door again? How many times you gonna run into that door, Sam? Fight back. Man. Fight the door back.
Hey, they have support groups for that.
Sam just going keep on digging. Just relax.
I ain't digging nothing. Anyway. All right.
Self-inflicted punishment.
Right.
LeBron James. Man, it was a promotional shot. I was just saying. I was making.
Don't say it. You know what? Let's just move on. We good. We got it. We understand what you're saying.
LeBron James.
There you go.
He stepped to Stephen A. last week.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm the furthest thing from a Stephen A. fan. I think Stephen A. has completely gone the way of he is for sale. Let's just put it down.
He making that money. He
is. There she go.
For sale. What?
You're right.
I oppose the pitch.
See, I told you.
I approve.
I told you. What I say?
Man,
my wife is good.
With your little soliloquy, man.
Thank you very much. I got permission from my wife on that.
Why your voice sound like, man, I run this, but you actually saying I've gotten permission.
I got permission.
Your voice sound like you saying something different.
I said I got permission from my wife, and I said when
I throw rose better at my wife's feet.
Anyway, get back to the point about I am the furthest thing from a Stephen A. fan.
Okay.
All right. His hustle, I appreciate his hustle, but man, he has completely sold out. Anyway, LeBron on the other hand, LeBron on the other hand has not. Like
might need to sell on
I
that.
don't pretend to be a LeBron fan, but I appreciate what LeBron stands for. Like he rides for
At
his.
every turn.
At every turn, stands for his. I mean, my
Mhm.
man builds a school. He rides for other players. He's down for certain. I mean, every step that you want, every
His
stand
son
you
ain't
want to
doing
take,
drugs
rides for the guy.
that we know of.
I mean, even down for the same woman that he's been with since high school. Is his wife. I mean, every step. You look at everything that he does. I just ride with the dude. I appreciate what LeBron stands for. Appreciate his game. He's the second best player to ever have done it. And that's hard for me to say because I can't stand Michael Jordan, right? But I can't ride with LeBron on this, man. Stephen A said that Bronny is in the position that he's in on the Lakers because his dad is LeBron James. And that's a whole lot of pressure to be putting on his son. And it's a position that frankly probably disadvantages or does disadvantage another player who could be in that position, probably even disadvantages the Lakers, and maybe even disadvantages his son. He's not wrong.
I think he is based off of what we've seen this season. Because Bronny James as the number 55 pick is averaging 22 in the G League.
The G League.
Is that great? Is that good? But guys that are picked before him and after him are averaging single digits, and I'm talking about 5 and below, right? So what LeBron is saying, first of all, that's my son, right? And y'all been talking about him for a long time. He ain't said nothing. However, once he's proven he can play, right? Is he a great NBA player? Maybe not. But once he's proven he can play 22 points per game in the G League, when there are other guys that aren't scratching the surface that were picked way higher. Why are you still doing this? Why are you still casting that propaganda out? Because he can play basketball. Maybe he's not a great NBA player, but why are you talking about a G League guy, right? And so for me, I don't have a son. However, if I did have a son, initially, like LeBron hasn't said anything, yeah, say what you want because he hasn't proven it. I get that. It's nepotism. That's fine. I'm supposed to put my kid in the proper position to be successful. And if he gets some breaks, well, you should have done better with your life so you can help your son. Now that my son is playing in the G League or D League, wherever it's called, and he's averaging 22 when there are picks that are way before him and way after him that aren't doing that, now I got to see you, man. Sorry.
So you can't have it both ways.
Now I got to see you.
You can't have it both ways. You can't get all of the benefits of being King James and King James' son, and then don't take none of the scrutiny that comes along with it as well.
And we got to put that 20. We got to put that 22 per game. He doesn't play every night either. He's only playing certain games too. So,
but the stigma was he don't even deserve to be on the G League.
Yeah.
He ain't good enough to score there. He ain't good enough to do that. And for me, I love that LeBron was able to do it. But for me, I said the same thing. I didn't think he would be able to, I wasn't like on the table about it, but I'm like, well, I haven't seen him do it. He played at USC, he wasn't doing nothing. But he's proven that he can play.
Yeah. And that's what I always say, right? You never say what a guy can't do or what he won't do in the future, right?
I didn't think Stephen A's premise wasn't that he wasn't a G League player. His premise was he's not an NBA player.
And he keeps getting minutes at the end of these NBA games.
Daniel.
Right, yeah. Now, listen, I don't.
End of the NBA. Come on now, Daniel. Everybody get in at the end.
Yeah, but a lot of those guys have kind of earned their way there, though. So I see, like you said, so I see I see where Stephen A. Smith is coming from, and I see where LeBron is coming from. I just think that where he did it was the weak part of it. If you want to have a conversation with a man about something he said about your son and about your family, I have no problems with that. But you know damn well I feel like you're doing it for the cameras when you approach Stephen A. Smith right there on the sideline. That's my thing. I know y'all got each other's phone numbers. Y'all can find each other whenever y'all want outside the gym. Doing it right there in that moment, standing over him, talking to him like that.
He's so tall.
Yeah, like that's weak right there.
I think that was his point. I think he wanted to little boy him in front of the whole world.
He did, and that's just
I'm with you on that, Sam. I don't like that.
I just that just doesn't strike me as in keeping with who I've seen him to be. And I understand that's your son. It'd be different if he was doing the total sort of wanton kind of disregard for he's a like calling his son out of his name. He's a B and he's a P and he's sorry and he wasn't doing none of that. He was like, hey man,
I mean, he essentially called him sorry.
He's such a great kid, and I'm pulling for him to do so well, and he has game, and I think he's going to be good down the line, and he just needs to develop, and I think he has such great potential. I just don't think he's ready right now. I think
he wasn't saying it like that though.
Let me ask you a question.
That is what he's been saying.
Hey,
he never said it like that.
And caveats.
It's the way you say things, and first of all, Stephen A. ain't never said nothing like that in his life.
Oh my God, have you?
He definitely gives 1,000 disclaimers before he says what he's gonna say.
Every time he talks about anything.
Daniel, I can't just because I say no disrespect, I can't turn around and disrespect you afterwards.
With all due respect.
Every time.
Normally when somebody say with all due respect, some disrespectful comes.
He don't give LeBron or this Bronny discussion, especially the Stephen A treatment. He do Stephen A on everybody else.
Yeah.
He don't do Stephen A. And even with when LeBron came at him like this, he didn't do the normal Stephen A pushback.
Mm-hmm.
He even tiptoed. The guy's like, man, wow.
I don't blame him.
What?
What?
Well, he got I'm in Stephen A's defense. Stephen A's defense, he got a new clip on Gil's Arena. Y'all gotta watch it. And he kind of explained it. He like, yeah, it was weak. And he said the reason why he didn't get back at him is because he had just signed a new deal and he was there with some upper echelon folks. And he was like, this ain't gonna end well because this ain't the end of the game. This is the between the third and fourth quarter. And he said that's why he didn't get back at him the way that, Stephen A might have or would have. Now, do I know whether he would have or not at the game? I don't know.
I'm not even talking about at the game.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like on shows and.
Oh no! So on Gil's Arena, he gave it to him a little bit. He made it very clear that he didn't rock with what LeBron did. He don't agree with it. It wasn't like how he talked about it on First Take. It was actually he cussed. Okay. He was way more organic of like, man, I can't believe this dude did this to me, man. Well, but the thing is like, I just don't think he can be outraged because this is his son that he like lived in his balls. Like you gotta a relationship and for whatever LeBron is not a repeat offender of stuff like this. People have said all the craziest stuff in the world about LeBron. Come on now. He's been exemplary. We just outlined it and people say all kind of wild stuff. He's never rolled up on nobody. However, this is his seed that he watched sitting on his shoulders when he won his first check. Like, you know what I mean? So it's just a different feeling. And maybe he's out of line, maybe not. But you can't control yourself as much when you presented with that situation. And your son is on the bench. And Stephen A said that his son was sitting on the bench and he looked at Stephen A. Stephen A. looked at him and it was kind of like a sad, like whatever. And he said he think that's what LeBron saw. And was like, I got to nip this in the bud right now, right? And so right, wrong, or indifferent, we can't crucify this man because he felt like you were insulting his son. And I
mean, so I guess I wonder, what did you expect?
And if it was Kenyon Martin, would he rolled up on Kenyon Martin courtside? If Kenyon Martin would have said that?
I don't know. Kenyon Martin, so probably this man is a machine.
Yeah,
Kenyon Martin ain't the old Kenyon Martin.
I guess
Kenyon Martin go thump with him.
But Kenyon Martin ain't never say nothing like that.
You know what I'm saying? But I think he did it because it was who it was too, though. But go ahead, Sam.
Probably.
But I mean, every player been waiting on somebody to roll up on Stephen A. Stephen A. crazy. He did that for the culture.
Yeah, well, that may
he did that for you, Sam, too. He did that for
you.
Yeah,
and
he did it for Daniel.
I think that it was warranted in that somebody needed to roll up on Stephen A. I just don't think it was the right message. Like this wasn't the message, because I look at LeBron and I'm like, man, what did you expect? What did you expect in this particular instance? Because we talked about it at the time.
Yeah.
the man averaged 4 points a game. Like when he was drafted, where he was drafted at the time, we all
Before
talked
that,
about it.
before that,
We was
Sam, he was second team all district and made the McDonald's game. He's probably the first kid to ever be second team all district and make the McDonald's. I don't think that's ever happened.
Deion's son was at the All-American game. And I'm not talking about his two sons right now. I'm talking about the Deion Sanders Jr. He played the All-American game and he was not very good.
Man, hey, bro,
you know, that's just it happened before, is what I'm saying. Deion Sanders,
crazy.
the camera son, he was in the All-American game.
He went to my high school. He went to my high school. Deion Sanders,
so you know he wasn't nice like that.
Like, he was a punt. He was a punt returner.
So I want to say that I think that because we all know that Stephen A. has been super critical and you know he's kind of walked it back, talking about I'm not critical. I'm saying he's the number 2 player in the country in the world ever, right? And we get that. And so I think that just over the years, Stephen A. has, you know, kind of, you know, just said LeBron ain't good enough for the most part. And I think that played a part in, right? Because now it's like, okay, it's fine. Talk about me. But then you brought my son in because like when he's talking to him, he's saying, leave my son out of this. Right. And it's like, oh, we got a problem with each other. But just leave my son out.
Though.
You put your son in it. Put your son in it, man. That's the point. That and I'm saying it's not.
So Daniel, you work at Ford. You get your son a job at Ford. Maybe he do deserve it. Maybe he don't. Somebody is cool for somebody to just talk crazy because your son got an opportunity because you did what you're supposed to do?
No, it's not cool, but I have to understand that's going to come with the territory.
Daniel, I know you. You're rolling up on that fool.
No, for sure.
Thank you. That's what I'm saying.
But I know I'm gonna have to roll up on somebody going into it though. I'm not going to do it in public in front of everybody.
So LeBron shouldn't be surprised with what you're saying.
No, he should. No, he should not because
what I'm saying is you should know that that's going to come with the territory, and I'm going to be more. The benefits of him being there, the benefits of him getting the experience, the benefits of us having the experience together are going to outweigh all of this other noise that's over here. That's the point. That don't matter as much as this.
But he's always been sensitive though to media criticism and things people say.
Here's another point. And so and I Lane Kiffin, everybody know Lane Kiffin, right? Mm-hmm. Lane Kiffin became a very young head coach in the NFL, all these different things, right?
Because his dad.
And he got because his dad. Nobody ever said so. Nobody else ever. It's a lot of sons that's gotten opportunities that shouldn't have.
Sure.
Let's be clear. Mm-hmm. But nobody's ever voiced it out loud like this. So we don't know what the fathers would have done. You know what I mean? I just want some grace, right? For a guy that's been blemish free, right? And now he want to have a conference to say something to you about his son. Not to mention, I told Sam this before you got on, Daniel. If this was Kobe or Jordan, and in a game where they're losing, right, to the Knicks is a good team. They're not playing as good as they should, but they're a really good team, right? Losing the game in between the third and the fourth quarter, he checks somebody, right? Killer instinct. He checks somebody, and then go get busy in the fourth, hit the shot to get you to overtime, then win the game. If Kobe or Jordan did this, we would be talking so glowingly about this. Everybody be set like, that's the killer. I know it ain't right, but that's the killer. That's who it is. They just got that mamba, that killer instinct. But because it's LeBron, it's like, oh, that's weak. He's sensitive. And we forget that that's during the game, and you're supposed to be locked in. He's so good that he like, I don't got to think about the game. I'm going to check you right quick, and then I'm going to get busy on the game. And I just think that it's a little bit of a double standard because if I'm just telling you, like Jordan punching his teammates out, because he's a great leader. He a fierce competitor. And it's just like, no, you don't just punch your teammates off for nothing. He punched Steve Kerr for nothing.
But father son baby love is not something that's been expected in sports or something that's been like that's my baby, that's my son. Like we've never seen this before, right?
He is a grown man now.
That's what I'm saying. He's a man.
We do know. I don't have a son, but I was talking to one of the kids' parents. And I'm like, yeah, man, cut the cord, dog. He got pecs now, but he going to ninth grade. He said, I don't care when he's 40, he's my baby. You feel me?
But look at what you told him though, right? So imagine that now that's with a ninth grader. This is with one guy making $7 million and the dad making $60 million.
He's never gonna cut the cord.
So I coach my son, right? I don't allow my son to call me dad in the gym. I played for my dad back in high school. He was Coach Horton. It wasn't, hey dad, where do I go? Like,
so but when y'all leave always been this, maybe ain't it?
Right, but for sure. But that's always been like when you're in the arena, there's always been this separation. And right there, LeBron kind of blurred those lines of the separation that normally occurs when it's father, son, or like even brothers. Like I played with my brother in high school. We were on the same team. We were in the gym. People didn't even, the only way you knew we were brothers because we look alike. Other than that, we on separate teams.
If somebody would have tried you, they would have found out y'all's brothers real quick.
For sure, as children, but for adults, you got to kind of. It's like I'm not saying what you have to do because this is all.
I mean, he didn't punch the man in the face.
No. It's all new territory for everybody.
Leave my son out of it.
No, it's all new territory. It's all new territory for everybody. So there's not like a specific way to handle this. I just know when we saw it, it didn't look right because of all the things in place.
I don't know what he expected. Like, how did you think this was gonna go?
I think he just expected to say his piece.
Did you think the King James aura was going to allow you to control this, or did you think Bronny's game was going to transcend all this? I don't know what he thought, but man, this is to me, this is always how it was going.
And this ain't the worst, Sam. If Bronny doesn't pan out, which I think he will. Like I said, when
I've been saying, have you watched him play?
No. When they draft, when y'all asked me before, I said just take his name off the stat sheet, right? And the stats off the sheet. A 6'1", 210-pound guard with a 40-something inch vertical, and can shoot the ball the way he shoot it. As a coach, I would take a chance on him.
So Daniel, for me, why can't other people see that?
Right. And I guess for me, why did it even register? If things are going well, like you said, Devin, who gives a what Stephen A is talking about?
If you talking about, you can't. He a human, man. I know it seemed like he from another planet here, robot. He a human, and that's his son, man. I don't care if he was averaging 40 in the G League, right? Why are you still doing this if he is playing well? Okay, on that coin, you say he shouldn't care. Okay, well, Stephen A., why are you still doing this if he is playing well? If he's proving you wrong, shouldn't you be coming to the table saying, hey, man, he ain't playing great. He ain't playing great in the NBA. He haven't got no real chance like that. But as far as being a player, he got a chance. Why he can't be an analyst like Daniel just said? Hey, 6'1", 210, 40-inch vertical, and you averaging 22 against grown men. Ain't like he playing high school. He averaging more than he did in high school. Right, whether he playing all games or not, he's shown flashes that he can really play.
Okay,
so why is it still a conversation?
So what can he say? So tell me that. What can he say about Bronny?
I mean, he the 55th pick. He shouldn't be talking about him at all.
So
he playing in the G League. He shouldn't be a topic of conversation. That's the problem.
But that's the thing, that his team and his people make him the topic of conversation when they do stuff like put him in the game for the Lakers and put him at the end of the bench for the Lakers. When he clearly hasn't earned his way there, that's what puts him in the conversation.
And when you knew the Lakers were going to draft, the Lakers were going to draft him. Like when this is like
everybody else should just hoop better, so that you can have this same power.
Right, but
to me, if he would have sent them straight to the D, so if they would have played it different, right, Devin, and he went straight to the D League as an undrafted free agent, I don't think nobody would say anything. But because they basically forced the Lakers to draft him and pay him a certain way. He has a very lucrative contract for his draft position, right? All of that comes into factor when people make their personal judgments about what they see, right? I think it's all about how you did. Like you forced him into this draft. So I think if they would have walked him into the D League and gave him basically the same contract he got now, nobody would say nothing.
But Daniel, in football terms, this all is being talked about for a 7th round pick. Do you know how many 7th round NFL picks are relatives of people? Right. And they ain't really ever gonna pan out. And they're gonna be on the practice squad, which is basically the G League. They're gonna be on a practice squad forever, making real money, right? Good money, making a good living, and then just go start a business, and nobody bats an eye.
Yes. And how many 7th round picks negotiate a guaranteed contract?
Yeah.
like
in the grand scheme of things, how much is that?
I understand, but that's
like
not the point.
That's pennies to the Lakers.
It's not the point. That's not the point.
Oh, man.
Like you added to the scrutiny.
I was undrafted
So
and I negotiated my contract too.
Right,
I ain't get
and
that.
but don't
Hey, me
complain.
neither.
You added to the scrutiny, so don't complain when the additional scrutiny comes. It's
Yeah.
And so y'all looking at us complaining. I'm looking at him as just saying what he got to say. Leave my son out of it. And Stephen A got a choice. He cannot order what he can. I think he was just telling me, I have to say this to you. Leave my son out of it, and that's it.
Yeah.
And Stephen A should say, I'm not gonna leave your son out of it.
Exactly,
Get out my
right?
face.
That's what you do.
Get out my face.
Hey, and the fourth quarter about to start, so you better get your butt over there.
Hey, get out my face. You sweating on my
Yeah,
suit.
hey, now if he was a real one, this how you know.
Call him
This
a
how you
sucker
know.
afterwards.
Hey, this how you know.
You don't tell me how to do my job.
Or
This how
drive
you know
turkey.
Stephen A ain't a real one. This how you know Stephen A ain't a real one. He didn't do what Ime Udoka. You remember he Ime Udoka was like, you ain't gonna do nothing.
You ain't my
you ain't talking to me like
hey,
that.
Ime Udoka said, you might be King James. You ain't my king, sucker.
Hey, Ime Udoka got kicked out the game with it.
Come on, sucker. Come on, sucker. What if Stephen A would have stepped back, put that right foot back, and said, come on, sucker. I've been waiting on this.
Ime Udoka was like, hey, stop walking over here like you gonna do something.
Yeah, stop. Hey, let's come over here sweating on my suit, dog.
Like, hey, stop. You ain't king over here.
Hey, man, I done told you about hitting them corners. You almost made me feel this yak on this
yak on my $200 suit.
It's crazy that he was talking crazy like $200 suit, and now you can't get a suit for $200. But I've digressed. That has nothing to do with this.
Hey, you ain't been to K&G.
Times have changed, Daniel. Hey, man. I done told you about hitting these corners. Almost made me feel my yak on this $200 suit.
I hate that what LeBron just did. I hate what LeBron just did to me. He just made me defend Stephen A. I hate it. I feel dirty. This is terrible.
Dirty.
I never want to be in this position ever again in life.
All right, on another note, I seen Brian in Vegas. I'm gonna call Brian and like, hey man, don't make, because you called Dawn. I'm gonna call Brian. Brian, don't make Sam have to defend Stephen A.
Oh man, that's terrible.
Hey,
me and Brian cool, whatever. So,
hey, you see, Stephen A. and what's my man name? Skip having a reunion, huh?
Oh, guys, it's been 2 hours. We gotta go.
Yeah, we do.
We gotta go.
We do.
Why are y'all still here? Chat. Why are y'all still here?
They definitely.
They don't like Stephen A. either. They don't like Stephen A. either.
We gotta go. We gotta go. Ben,
DG,
Ben
you gotta watch the reunion show.
Yeah,
DG.
Ben does have stuff to do. I think Ben already left.
Ben said, "I'm out, man. I'm sick of this."
Yeah, Ben already left. All right, folks. We hope that you enjoyed Steady Dropping Dimes. We enjoy all of you always. Until next time, thanks for watching and listening to another edition of Steady Dropping Dimes. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.